There aren't that many libertarians in show business. We've got, what, Drew Carey, Dennis Miller, Kurt Russell, supposedly libertarian, Vince Vaughn, and, well, that's about it. I wish we had more. So I was glad to learn about Doug Stanhope. I didn't know about him before I researched him, but one newspaper calls him one of the top 5 comedy acts in the world, and they put him ahead of left-leaning comedians like Janine Garofalo. So, Doug, good for you. What makes you a libertarian?
I had no idea I was one. I just talked enough till people started telling me, yeah, you have a lot of libertarian viewpoints, and I had no idea what that was. So I've looked it up.
But most people are not. Most people want a lot of government telling them what to do. So what made
I think most people are, if you break it down for them, but like me, they probably have no idea what it means. And it does have liberal in the title, so I'm not that. Well, yeah, I think most people would be. And I think
liberal used to mean you just wanted to be left alone, to tolerate whatever.
I think they've changed the meaning of a lot of those terms.
So today's liberals stole the word from me. I want it back.
I think most of the things that affect my life and screw up my day are liberal, in the new meaning of liberal. Which the fact that I'm standing out at 20 below zero smoking a cigarette, that wasn't a Republican thing. That was someone trying to do good for me.
All right, well, let me play a few clips from your stand-up act in Seattle. Here's one where you're complaining about seatbelt laws.
You can't drive down the street without a seatbelt on. Why not? I don't know. You're going to put on a helmet. You can't sit in your own backyard naked, your own filthy, dirty flesh that you're born with. You know, that body you carry around? Filthy. You can't sit out. Why not? I don't know. That's just the way it is. You're not free. You're not free in the least. You need a diploma in this country to cut hair.
I was wondering how you were going to get clips that were clean enough to play on this show, and now I see what you've done is taken one giant bit and edited it around the punchlines.
You bet, because,
it was very good work.
Television.
Yeah, I was just curious how you're going to do that.
Well, now you know. All right, your first point. You can't drive the street without a seatbelt on.
Right.
Well, seatbelts have saved thousands of lives.
Okay, so then you should be able to wear them, but you shouldn't have to be for. Most of these points boil down to you own your own meat, your own body. If there's any private property argument, you own this. I mean, so yeah, if I want to go careening through a windshield at 120 miles an hour because I'm bored with my life, that's my right.
Well, not in America.
Right, exactly, not in America.
Some you talk about, you got to put on a helmet, but in some states, they've even backtracked from that. You don't have to wear a helmet, and you can crack open like an egg, and it's your hit.
Yeah.
And that's good?
Yeah, you own your own body. You should be able to do, even if it's a drug argument. You want to do that, you do whatever you like to it. You tattoo it or pierce it or throw cheese sandwiches down the top hatch till you're so fat that you have to pay for 2 seats on Southwest Airlines. It's your meat.
Let's play another clip from that same act.
They say if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, then he's got to get a fishing license, but he doesn't have any money. You couldn't even cook the fish because you needed a permit for an open flame. And then the health department is going to start asking you a lot of questions about where are you going to dump the scales and the guts. This is not a sanitary environment.
All right, well, the audience likes these arguments. Don't we need fishing licenses?
Like, what would your argument for fishing licenses be?
Somebody might go in and dynamite the lake and blow up, take all the fish out, then nobody else gets to eat fish.
Are you seriously saying that could be a problem?
But there is overfishing. I would think environmental rules is one place where government does have a role, because the market doesn't really work well. My smoke goes to your lungs, my pollution goes to your drinking water.
And yeah, I'm sure there are. But if you're going to pick apart every part of the bit that's a little technically flawed,
yes, I am.
You're not going to have comedy.
Drugs should be legal. All drugs, marijuana, crack, everything.
Certainly.
You said, I want to buy hallucinogenic mushrooms at Walmart starting tomorrow.
Right. I would.
Should children be prevented?
Well, that's where you have a gray area. Yeah, I mean, we live in a country now where a guy can come back from Iraq without legs and not be able to have a beer legally, and that's a problem. You're 18 years old for everything else. King Tut ruled the world when he was 11, and now you're coming back from Iraq without legs and can't have a cocktail. So when you say, should children be able to use drugs, I used drugs as a child, and I thrived.
Let's go back to that, another clip of your act, this one on gay marriage.
If you want to get married, it should be like joining a fraternity where you want to get married, you go to your church or your Chuck E. Cheese and they do a crazy rain dance around you and then some incantation and pafoof, you're a married person.
If marriage didn't exist, would you invent it? Would you ever look at the person that you're with?
To say, I'm making a commitment, we're going to have a family together, I'm going to be with you to the end.
You'd say, baby, this stuff, this love we have together is so powerful. We need to get the government involved with this stuff, baby. We can't just do this by ourselves. We need federal oversight and regulations on this.
Your point is the Chuck E. Cheese certificate should be enough.
I'm saying the government should have nothing to do with that. It cheapens an affair. Once you have that contract attached, that's when things come into play. Like, yeah, he's doing it just for the money. Or she's just with him because he's rich. So yeah, that's just a commitment you should make. It should have nothing to do with government.
Let's go on to something more serious.
Pause for edit.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you get sick of it all at the end of the day, not even legal to kill yourself in this country.
Now, this one always struck me as really odd, though they don't prosecute people who kill themselves. But they do prosecute people who help others.
Right.
And that's the law in all but, I believe, one state.
Yeah, Oregon. Oregon's the only state with assisted suicide.
Someone who I respect a lot, Steve Forbes, says, when a person stands on the ledge of a building, we try to pull him back. Legalizing assisted suicide would say, jump. And if you hesitate, maybe society will push you.
Yes, and that's someone who's never been that close to someone dying. When you see someone that's in that much agony and that much pain, yeah, this is it. I don't have punchlines for this one. This just makes me angry.
That's a tough one, though. I agree with you. I think it's your life. If you own your own body, you ought to get to decide when to end it and when to get help on that. But thank you, Doug Stanhope.
We closed on it. Such a bummer.
That's television. Doug, thank you. What if libertarians were in charge? I don't know if he should be the one. But I'm told there would be anarchy. Planes would crash.